Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really special. Drawing from the insights of Maki Sanskar Shala, specifically Part 7, we're exploring how to raise a generation that genuinely cares for one another. We're going to uncover how parents can instill deeply rooted values of cooperation and mutual help in their kids. And the best part? We aren't talking about expensive programs here. We're talking about simple, completely free, mindful daily habits right at home. We'll be walking through 4 key stages today: the foundation of cooperation, social unity through play, practical cooperation in a crisis, and finally, building the future citizen. Let's kick things off with Part 1, the foundation of cooperation. And this all starts right at home. Now, you might be wondering, does this take a lot of resources? Actually, no. Instilling a spirit of cooperation from childhood doesn't require a massive budget or some grand, complicated strategy. Your everyday vigilance and mindful supervision as a parent, that is entirely sufficient. It's really about just being present, observing, and gently guiding how your kids interact with the world around them. It goes to show that the absolute best lessons are literally free. It all boils down to a super simple roadmap. Rule 1, enforce shared family meals. Rule 2, have children wear similar, modest clothes. And Rule 3, make sure they play together. I mean, just by dressing kids of similar ages in similar clothing, parents silently but powerfully wipe out early feelings of superiority or inferiority. You're planting the seeds of equality right in your own living room, long before they ever face the outside world. And those shared meals, they are absolutely crucial for building a deep sense of belonging and unity. Even if, a child has an early commitment and needs to eat before everyone else, the default rule of the house should always be dining together. That constant physical gathering makes sure a shared existence and a deep bond take unbreakable root in a child's mind. All right, moving outside the home to Part 2, social unity through play. Now, this is fascinating. The true development of cooperation actually happens during unstructured playtime. Think about it. If a child goes to call a friend who is still getting dressed, they don't just ditch them and leave. They sit, they wait patiently, and then they walk together. That natural patience forms an incredibly powerful group identity, built entirely on innocent affection rather than forced rules. And that innocent love, it has an astonishing ripple effect. Imagine 2 families living next door to each other, locked in some bitter legal dispute. Yet their kids still play together every single day. If one mother just instinctively shares a piece of fruit with the neighbor's kids sitting right there, that tiny act can soften hearts. The adults look at the pure affection between their kids and suddenly realize how totally futile their animosity is. It's wild, but innocent friendships can actually dissolve the bitterest of family feuds. So, we've seen how shared meals and unstructured play build these incredible bonds. But here's the real question. How do we give this cooperative feeling a practical, concrete form when sudden real-world challenges strike? Which brings us to Part 3, practical cooperation in crisis, putting theory into action. When things go wrong, say a classmate falls ill, kids need to be actively encouraged to go visit them, sit by their side, and help with their care. Or in more urgent situations, like if a peer gets injured by a passing vehicle on the way home, it's their absolute moral duty to provide immediate first aid, get them to a hospital, inform their parents, and maybe even voluntarily chip in their own pocket money to make sure their friend gets the care they need. And this right here is a massive crossroads for parents. Imagine your kid comes home late because they were at the hospital helping that injured friend. A supportive parent is going to praise the child for their noble act, actively nurturing their empathy. But a selfish parent, they might scold the child for getting involved and arriving late. That kind of reaction violently crushes the budding flower of cooperation, totally stunting their moral growth. Yeah, scolding a helpful child crushes their natural instinct to care. Reacting out of foolishness or selfishness doesn't just ruin their day. You are actively programming them to look away from suffering for the rest of their lives. When a parent shuts down that instinct, they are steering their kid completely away from a life of compassion and community. Finally, let's look at Part 4, building the future citizen, and how this shapes tomorrow's society. The outcome here is pretty stark. Children who are scolded for helping others, who are taught to always just look the other way, will inevitably become selfish adults. Because their empathy was crushed in childhood, they grow into society's hoarders and profiteers, completely unmoved by the poverty, pain, or suffering around them. These are the folks who will comfortably sit there eating sweets all by themselves without offering a single piece to their companions. They'll hoard food, casually tossing leftovers to stray animals, while completely ignoring a destitute person crying out for bread right at their very doorstep. Selfish adults basically create a society that is blind and deaf to human suffering. To sum it all up, building a compassionate, unified society doesn't rely on grand government programs. It rests entirely on small, daily choices by parents. Nurture cooperation through shared meals and similar attire, encourage unstructured group play, and most importantly, always celebrate a child's empathy when they step up to help. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Every time you enforce a family dinner, and every time you praise a helpful act, you are shaping tomorrow. Will your everyday habits build a compassionate citizen who uplifts society, or someone tragically blind to the world's pain? Thanks for joining me on this explainer.